What's up, everybody? How's it going? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Hope y'all are having a great day. I know I am. Happy Monday, whatever. Hope y'all had a great weekend. Some crazy things happened this weekend. But I'm going to talk about jumping away from basketball. I know the last couple videos have been, basketball related. This time, with the NFL season starting up officially this Wednesday, I want to talk about probably the craziest thing thus far to happen for this season was the news that broke on Saturday night that a major trade went down. So I want to dive into that, talk about that, give my opinion, give my takes on what I think about it. So let's get right into it. So late Saturday night, it was reported and eventually confirmed that Antonio Brown, former Pittsburgh Steelers star, all-pro, future Hall of Fame wide receiver, was traded out west to the Oakland Raiders. He's signing a 3-year, $50 million contract, $30 million guaranteed, to go out west to join Derek Carr, Coach John Gruden, and be a member of the Oakland Raiders. So, in my opinion, this is, well, obviously Pittsburgh had to do something, had to get rid of him, had to trade him somewhere. And as it was reported earlier, I think earlier in the week when he was reported, it was reported also late, like Thursday night, I believe, that the Bills were close to an agreement, and Antonio Brown sort of shot that down and said, if I get traded to the Bills, I'm just not going to play. So that deal sort of went through the drain, didn't end up going through, and eventually he got traded to the Oakland Raiders. So I'm going to assume that the Raiders is a team that he wants to play for. Otherwise, he would have, shot that deal down and also threatened to not play. So I'm going to assume that that's a team that he wants to play for. So, like I said, 3 years, $50 million, $30 million guaranteed. So it's very interesting to see, what's going to be with Antonio Brown and his production because of who he's playing with now. Not just the team itself, the head coach, the quarterback that he's now going to be with. I think to me is very interesting to see how well he produces under that quarterback and under that head coach as of now. The Raiders have not been a very good team, to say the least. They've had one winning season since 2002. Last year was just made no sense to anybody. They traded Amari Cooper. They traded Khalil Mack, two very young, highly talented guys that they had on their roster. They traded those guys away, and this year now they bring in, a 31-year-old Antonio Brown. Who, don't get me wrong, Antonio Brown is still a highly productive, very talented receiver. It's just if you're trying to win now, I don't know, the Raiders don't strike me as a team that's that was an Antonio Brown away from contending for the Super Bowl. So it doesn't make sense to try and win now with a guy when you're not in a position to really win now. It seemed like they were trying to build for the future when they traded Khalil Mack and they traded Amari Cooper for those draft picks. Seemed like they wanted to start fresh. They wanted to, sort of take a few years to build themselves back up to a playoff contender. But then they go out and sign Antonio Brown. So it's kind of, all over the place. I'm not really sure what the mindset, what the decision behind that was. Maybe, having a guy like Antonio Brown can sort of, help out Derek Carr, I guess, in a way. But to me, it didn't really add up with everything that happened with them last year, like I said, to then go out and make a move like this for this coming season. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense. And Antonio Brown, as great as he is, don't get me wrong, he's an incredible receiver. One of the best, if not the best, in the NFL today. He's 31 years old, and he has not been the best when it's when someone other than Ben Roethlisberger is throwing him the ball. He has not caught a single touchdown pass from someone other than Ben Roethlisberger. I believe he has like in his years in Pittsburgh, when when Ben gets injured or Ben isn't playing and they have somebody else at quarterback, he's got no touchdowns. I think he's averaging like 4 catches a game. I saw in a tweet that he was averaging like 4 catches a game, like a couple hundred yards, not like high productive numbers. Nothing, crazy that jumps out at you when you think like future Hall of Famer. It's not numbers that you would expect from a guy that's a future Hall of Famer. So it's interesting to see, what his production level is going to be when it's not with Ben Roethlisberger. Now that it's with somebody else, now that it's with a guy like Derek Carr, who has potential. He had a great year a couple years ago, led them to the playoffs, and then he kind of went back last year. They had a little bit of a rough year, so I think it's interesting to see what the production level for Antonio Brown is going to be like this year. Now that he's in he's on the West Coast now, so he's not going to have to deal with the cold weather. He's not going to have his elusive, extend plays like Ben Roethlisberger is known to be. He's not going to have that. He's not going to have, a guy that he's comfortable with in Ben Roethlisberger. So it's interesting to see, what's going to be and how that is going to play out now that he's on a different team, now that he has a different quarterback and a whole new system. They're going to rely on Antonio Brown a lot this season and the next 3 seasons of his contract. They're going to rely on him a lot. They don't have the running game that Pittsburgh has. They don't have a Le'Veon Bell to rely on. They don't have even a James Conner. They don't have a James Conner to rely on to balance the offense, with run, pass, play action. They don't have that. Derek Carr is a good quarterback. He's not Ben Roethlisberger. They don't have an offensive line like Pittsburgh has. They don't have any of that. They don't really have the things that Pittsburgh had to sort of balance out that offense, to take a little bit of pressure off Antonio Brown. So I expect that Brown is going to be relied on heavy in the Oakland offense. They're going to try and target him a lot. They're going to try and get him the ball any way they can and really work him to get the best out of him, to get the biggest results they can out of him and out of this contract. And I don't know, I still, like I said before, I don't understand why they got rid of Amari Cooper, because Cooper is younger, and if you're trying to build for the future, you start with draft picks, you get as many draft picks as you can, you draft younger guys, you don't necessarily throw a ton of money at an older guy like an Antonio Brown or somebody like that. And not knocking Antonio Brown, he's still one of the best receivers in the league, but like I also said before, he's a guy, if you're bringing him in, he's a guy you're bringing in, if you're trying to win now. If they're trying to win for the next 3 years, then I can understand why you're bringing him in. They're not in a position to, contend for a Super Bowl, within the next 3 years. I don't see it. So to me, that sort of didn't make any sense in a sense in why this, trade sort of went down with Oakland. I don't get why they, got rid of Amari Cooper. He was much younger. He was a good talent. He produced, and he's a lot younger, and he was also, not as big of a head case as people say Antonio Brown is. So that aspect didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But I think it'll be interesting, like I said, to see, just how well Antonio Brown produces on this team, being that he's probably going to be the number 1 option in the passing game and just in the offense in general. So I think it'll be interesting to see how well him and Derek Carr work together, how their chemistry, what they can get, before training camp starts, before their off season, officially ends, and they head to, camp and start doing their workouts before the season starts. I think it's interesting to see that and watch, as the season progresses, how much of a workload they actually put on him and how well he takes it and how well, he performs, given that he's most likely going to be their number 1 option on offense for, the entirety of this season and as long as he's with this team. All I know is NFL is back. The season is back. Officially on Wednesday, the NFL season is officially underway. I can't wait. I'm all for it. We already got, free agent signings. We got trades. We got all kinds of guys going to new teams. I'm ready to see what's going to continue to happen, who's going to continue going where. We got the NFL draft coming up in a little bit, in a couple of months. So, things are going to start picking up, and I'm all for it. I'm ready to go. I miss football. I miss my Sundays on the couch. I'm ready to go. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.